like a joke to Trump?
Not at all. Not at all. That was not the context at all. In a three-hour social evening at the president's residence in Florida on a long weekend of American Thanksgiving, the conversation was going to be lighthearted. The president was telling jokes. The president was teasing us. It was, of course, on that issue, in no way a serious comment. We had a discussion on trade issues, on border security that was very productive. But the fact that there's a warm, cordial relationship between the two leaders and the president is able to joke like that, for us was a positive.
What exactly did he say? What exactly did he say?
We don't have a transcript. Nobody, if you look carefully at the picture, nobody had pads or were taking notes. It was a social evening. It wasn't a meeting in a boardroom with 10 bureaucrats keeping notes. It was a social evening. And there were moments where it was entertaining and funny, and there were moments where we were able to do, we think, some good work for
Canadian workers want to know, did the Prime Minister make it clear to Donald Trump that balancing the U.S. budget on the backs of Canadian workers won't work for Canada?
That we had a productive discussion with Mr. Trump and his future cabinet secretaries. The Prime Minister, of course, spoke about the importance of protecting the Canadian economy and Canadian workers from tariffs, but we also discussed with our American friends the negative impact that those tariffs could have on their economy, on an affordability in the United States as well.
My question a moment ago, though, was about the deficit. He admits that deficits contribute to inflation. We now have reports from the parliamentary budget officer that he appointed showing that the deficit is far bigger than he advertised in his last budget. So once again, I'll ask slowly, what was Canada's federal deficit last year?
Speaker, I'll take no lessons from someone who stays up late every night rehearsing his little performances in the mirror. The fact, Mr. Speaker, is we're continuing to step up for Canadians because we have the lowest deficit in the G7. We have the best debt-to-GDP ratio and are projected to have the strongest growth in the G7 ahead of the United States next year. These are things that we've done because we've been investing not just in Canadians and support for them, but also in drawing in global investment.
I know the Prime Minister said that he'll leave the economy to bankers. Well, the bankers are sure rolling in cash, collecting interest on the national debt that he has already doubled, while Canadians line up at food banks. Right. The question, though, was about the size of the deficit. You cannot run a $500 billion G7 government if you don't know anything about the finances of that government. So can the Prime Minister tell us, does he actually know the size of the deficit? Mr. Speaker, he doesn't know.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't know. No, he doesn't know.
I was tempted to accuse him of hiding it, but you know, as Napoleon Bonaparte said, never attribute to malice what can be explained by incompetence.
Yep.
Mr. Speaker, who's actually running this government?
Yeah.